What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Bret back on the show. What's up, Bret? Good to have you on.
Hey man, how's it going? Glad to be back. Thanks.
Yeah, good to have you back. We got Dustin as well, the whole crew. Dustin, good to have you back on.
Yeah, good to be here with you guys.
Now, this is the 2021 NFL Draft recap. Hell of a draft weekend, a lot of fun, a lot of craziness. Some things went as we expected, some did not. Um, Dustin, what do you think of the draft? I mean, Cleveland did a great job hosting it. It was nice to see the fans back. What do you think of the whole experience of draft weekend? I mean, Thursday night was a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, it was great to see them be able to walk from the back to the stage, and hold up that jersey after last year having it virtually, and Cleveland was a great host.
Yeah, it was very well done. Nice to see it, kind of getting back to normal a little bit. Seeing the players there, the fans there. Bret, what did you think of the draft? Did you think it was a success? And, was it a fun Thursday night for you?
Yeah. I mean, as far as the circumstances go, it definitely went well. Like Dustin said, like to see those players, you work your whole life for that moment, and ever since COVID, it's been a little bit different in every aspect of life. But glad that things got somewhat normal this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. I mean, the Jags had the number one pick. Easiest pick of the draft was Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Highest rated quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. Um, he's now the Jags' future. I hope he's the franchise quarterback. You got Urban Meyer and Darrell Bevell there in Jacksonville. Bevel's had success as OC with Russell Wilson and Matthew Stafford. Dustin, do you see? I mean, when you look at the Jags, you look at these weapons: DJ Chark, LaVisca Chenault. They added Marvin Jones. You got some running backs. What do you think? Do you expect Trevor Lawrence to have a pretty immediate success in Jacksonville?
I do, and honestly, this Jacksonville team is very scary. I mean, you have somebody who's a quarterback guru and Urban Meyer, and that combination is just dangerous.
Yeah, and then on top of it, Trevor Lawrence is a great pick. They got a lot of weapons. Honestly, in pick 25 in the first round, Travis Etienne out of Clemson. I love this pick, and it keeps the teammates together. Bret, what do you think of the Jags going Etienne following Trevor Lawrence? So you got the Clemson backfield sticking together. Etienne's a great pass-catching running back. So he's going to be kind of like the safety blanket for Trevor Lawrence, and already having that built-in chemistry, that's very valuable. I like that pick. What about you?
Yeah, it was something we talked about earlier in the draft with the Bengals getting chased, the chemistry thing.
Yeah.
It seems like it, came into play and worked out there for Jacksonville. But at the same time, you have a rookie running back who just had a career season,
Yeah.
and that's a little bit demoralizing to me if I were Robinson, knowing that you just took a running back in the first round after the year that I had. But like you said, the chemistry thing, it helps put them in a better position that they don't have to learn that. It's, a step ahead that they don't have to work on.
Yeah.
That's a smart move to avoid all that time, getting the chemistry there. Now they can work on other things that they need to.
Yeah, I like it. I agree that if you're James Robinson, maybe you're not stoked about the pick, but he was the workhorse running back last year, and I think it would be better for him long term having a two-back system. And Etienne, being the change of pace, the quick, speedy running back, and then James Robinson, the short, pounded in the middle in the trenches. So, he might get less opportunities, but he's still going to be a factor. And I'm a big James Robinson fan. So, overall, when you look at this Jags offense, I think it's pretty loaded. Do you agree, Bret?
Yeah. They have Chark. I had Chenault on my team last year.
Yep.
fantasy team. You know, they're
Marvin
young.
Jones from Detroit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So now, I mean, they've got weapons. They're building it. That's what Urban Meyer's going to do. Like you said, he's going to take any advantage that he can, and that their first round draft picks is definitely a big one.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they look like in 2021. They also take corner Tyson Campbell from Georgia. So now, if you look at their secondary, their corners, you got C.J. Henderson, they got Shaq Griffin from Seattle, Trey Herndon, and now you add Tyson Campbell. That's a solid, talented secondary and incredibly young that they can build and get better. So I like what Jacksonville's doing. I gave them an A for the draft. Do you agree with that, Dustin? You think the Jags deserve an A for the job they did in the draft?
Absolutely. I mean, they just drafted the what could be once in a lifetime quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the Jets. Bret, the Jets go Zach Wilson. No surprise here. The second easiest pick of the draft. Zach Wilson of the Jets. Very skilled quarterback, can make all the throws. He's athletic. Some have compared him to Aaron Rodgers type playmaker. But what you're getting in New York this year in 2021, you're going to have a rookie head coach, a rookie offensive play caller in Mike LaFleur, and a rookie quarterback. A lot of pressure in New York City. Rookies across the board. Do you think the Jets are going to have some growing pains, some struggles along the way?
I mean, I think, yeah, they're going to. They know that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's better to have it with a fresh start than it is to try and fix something that wasn't working
Yeah.
for a while. So either way, you're probably going to find yourself in a similar situation or scenario, but at least you have the ability to shape this one or mold it the way you want.
Yeah, and I like head coach Robert Saleh. As soon as he signed the deal with the Jets, he said that he's not going to play call on defense. He's just going to be the head coach, and he's going to delegate the coordinators to do the play calls. I like that a lot. As a Bears fan who's seen Matt Nagy struggle with play calling, I like head coaches that stay out of the play calling and just run the team, and worry about everything else. I think that's a good thing for the Jets.
Yeah.
Dustin, in the New York paper, they've already had a piece that said Broadway Zach, comparing Zach Wilson to being the next Broadway Joe Namath. And that's the last time the Jets won a championship. How do you think Zach Wilson will do handling all this pressure in New York?
Man, he's a young kid, but I think he'll do pretty well. Watching his film and everything, he's a good player and very smart. He's handled pressure, I mean, I've seen him handle pressure at BYU. So I believe he's going to do great.
Yeah, that New York media is going to be something else, but I mean, you got to be ready for it. Media is going to be ridiculous no matter where you're at in the NFL. And he's got weapons. They added Corey Davis from the Titans. They drafted Denzel Mims last year, Jamison Crowder, Keelan Cole from the Jags. And now in the second round, they also take Elijah Moore from Ole Miss. So plenty of weapons for Zach Wilson. And then on top of that, Bret, they trade up with the Vikings to go to 14 and take guard Elijah Vera Tucker. I like what the Jets are doing. Plenty of playmakers, and they're also building in the trenches. So I think Zach Wilson on paper is set up to have a pretty good year.
Yeah, I agree. They went and made moves. They did what they had to do to give him the best chance. So that shows some kind of positive life in the future. And it's crazy because they did draft or trade up to 14. I think that was with Minnesota, who apparently had their eyes on Fields until your Bears came in.
That's what's crazy, and we'll get to that a little bit later as well. But it's shocking that the Vikings might not be all in on Kirk Cousins. So that's a story to keep an eye on for sure. But trading back, with the Jets get better. My concern about the Jets, we talked about the offensive line and the wide receivers, the quarterback. My concern is everything else on offense. If you look at the tight end room, you've got Chris Herndon and who else? And Chris Herndon on his own doesn't really scare me at the tight end position. So they could use some help at tight end. And also, who do they have in the running back room? It's kind of a loaded bunch of who, like, we're not sure. You've got LaMichael Pirine, Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, and they took rookie Michael Carter in the 4th round from North Carolina. He's a 5'8" speed home run threat. So
I like that.
They've got talent, but it's kind of a jumbled mess there in the running back room. What do you think, Dustin? I mean, is there talent there, or are they going to kind of struggle running the ball?
I mean, they're going to struggle, but like you said, they went and got Michael Carter, and I love that pick, man.
I do too. Yeah,
I watched him play out of North Carolina. They had a double-headed monster last year, but it's definitely going to be a good player, and I feel like he can help their running game.
Yeah, it's a great value pick. 4th round, and like I said, speed home run threat. You can never have enough speed in the NFL, so good pick there. And maybe he'll come out as one of the best running backs in that room. Bret, the 49ers, pick of the draft. I said this before a pick. I'm like, here we go. This is what we're all looking for. The 49ers pick. So much noise about it being Mac Jones, and then it seemingly the day of the draft, it switched to Trey Lance. Me and Dustin were watching the draft together, kind of going back and forth. I had been saying Mac Jones the entire draft process, and right before the pick, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go Trey Lance. How surprised were you, Bret, that the Niners chose Trey Lance here?
I mean, not extremely, because I think we kind of mentioned it.
There's a possibility, yeah.
It would be when the. Because I think originally, who did I have?
Like
I think I originally.
Fields?
Yeah, because I had Sewell at 2 or at 3 with Miami, and then they traded, and that's why I switched it to Lance.
Yeah.
And Mac Jones was originally going to, I had the Patriots, and that ended up happening. Yeah. But I didn't think that was going to happen after all the, the mess that was made with all the trades.
It's just so cool to me that throughout the entire draft process, all the experts all around the league, all the experts were telling us it's Mac Jones, it's Mac Jones. And then the day before the draft, it switched to Trey Lance. And it's just crazy to me that Trey Lance ended up being the pick. I was saying all along that's who I would take if I was there, but I thought it was going to be Mac Jones. I like the pick. Highest upside quarterback, strongest arm, very athletic, draws comparisons to Cam Newton. And now it sounds like the Niners are going to keep Jimmy Garoppolo and sit Trey Lance for as long as possible behind him. Dustin, how surprised were you when the Niners chose Trey Lance?
I mean, I wasn't as surprised going up to the moment because if you remember me and you were talking about it.
Yeah.
And so, but the 3 weeks prior, I was damn sure that they were going to go with Mac Jones. But, after looking closer and closer, I guess Trey Lance fit in Shanahan's offense more better.
Well, to me, I think Mac Jones would fit very well in Shanahan's offense as well. But what Trey Lance gives you is the highest upside, the most potential. And if you're going to trade 3 first-round picks to go up to number 3, you need to get that right. And you need to get a high-ceiling player. And I think that's why they went with Trey Lance. Plus, he fits the 49ers offense very well in that it's a zone-run offense, and it has a lot of first-read throws. It doesn't require a quarterback to sit back and scan the entire field and go to read 3 and 4 and 5. He can sit there and do the zone run, quarterback option shit, and then if he sees an opening, hit the first target. And so I think that's very beneficial for Trey Lance. And I think, in San Francisco, I think he's a future star. What do you think, Bret? Do you see Trey Lance as a star quarterback in the NFL? I mean, he's pretty raw, but he's big and strong and powerful.
I think he definitely was placed in the best situation for the rookie
Yep.
quarterbacks.
Yep.
So that's that's an advantage right there. But his potential, he wasn't. He didn't have any D1 offers. He barely got any offers at the D2 level, or even he did. But he wasn't noticed very much, and he has a chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
So he wanted to come out and he wants to prove that he had that potential prior, and that the people, the
Yeah.
scouts that missed him, just they didn't. Obviously, they missed. You're looking at Lawrence, and he was the big deal for the most of the year, and some of these other guys were just written off, and Lance even more so, especially with their season.
Yeah.
So he has a lot to prove, and I think that he has the highest ceiling as far as where he's come from compared to the others. Not necessarily saying, I guess he has the most room for potential or
I
for growth,
think.
I should say.
I mean, so I'm not a big stats guy. You guys know this, but Trey Lance's stats from his full year as starter were unreal. I've never seen anything like it. Like we see Patrick Mahomes with unreal stats. We see Aaron Rodgers. Like I'm talking touchdown to interception ratio and stuff like that. That's the new thing is that if you could find a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers that can give you 30, 40 touchdown passes and like less than 5 interceptions, that's unreal production. And what Trey Lance did at North Dakota State in 2019, he accounted for 42 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That is mind blowing. And
It is.
if you can get that kind of production in the NFL, I'm not saying that you will, but if you can, that's unreal. And that's the production that he can be potentially the best quarterback in football if he develops and fits in the Niners scheme and everything really well. On top of that, the weapons are there. You got George Kittle, who's a great tight end, might be the best tight end in football. You got Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Richie James, Mohamed Sanu, Jalen Hurd, Raheem Mostert at running back, and then Dustin. How about this pick? In round 3, 88 overall, the Niners go Trey Sermon, running back out of Ohio State. We all know Trey Sermon. Man, you plug him into that zone run offense with Raheem Mostert. How do you defend that?
Yeah, it's going to be nearly impossible, but I'm still like, wasn't Trey Lance's stat like 42 touchdowns and only 3 picks?
42 touchdowns, 0 picks.
He did end up throwing one this year.
This year, but he only played one game this year, or 2020. 2019 is what I'm talking about, and that was the year he was a full-time starter.
Right. Yeah.
0 picks?
0 picks. I've never seen that.
That production, like, think about, I mean, it's hard to compare it relatively to basketball, but, when you have 22 turnovers and you lose by 6 in basketball, like, that's a difference. You have 14 turnovers, you're likely winning that game. Same thing with, and if football, it's even more so crucial because you get way less possessions and it's not as, quickly flipped or turned over when it comes to, having the ball and possession wise. So every possession is important no matter what sport, but yeah.
And I agree. And in the NFL nowadays, it's more important than ever. I really believe that because possessions are more, you don't see a ton of punts. You don't see a ton of turnovers anymore. So when you do get turnovers, it's so killer. It kills your team. Nowadays in the NFL, you expect to get as many scoring drives as possible, a lot more than we used to. And with all the rules being offensive biased, it makes sense. And so, I think if you take that ball security production from Trey Lance, plug him into the 49ers with the zone run. I mean, we saw what the Niners did to the Packers in the NFC Championship game a couple years ago with Raheem Mostert. if you can do that on a consistent basis and kill defenses with the zone run, Trey Lance can run the ball so he can keep it and go around the corner and be a threat there. Plus, when he chooses to throw it, if he can protect the ball that way, man, I have a hard time seeing how this Niners offense is going to be beat. I really do.
And then look at the when they had Garoppolo, using him or going to the NFC chip or shoot. When they made their run, their defense was top notch.
Yes.
Their offense was below average. And
Yeah.
defense is going to be they're not going to, it's not going to be to that level, but it'll be close. It'll be good enough to where.
Good. Yeah, and you still got Nick Bosa and those guys. They added corner Ambry Thomas out of Michigan,
Yep.
So,
and now you have the production there, and which your offense, like you said, we feel that Garoppolo is kind of more like a fill-in, and that's all he had to be. So now you get this playmaker who, with these weapons, like you said, he's got so much. There's so much development that's going to happen in this offense due to the weapons. You add that with the defense, you give them another possession or two. The 49ers are going to be scary.
Yeah, and it's going to be a year or two off because Trey is going to sit a while. But the thing is, I expect to see Lance on the field sooner than that. In like gadget plays and Taysom Hill type plays. So I'm interested to see how the 49ers do going forward. Dustin, they also take Aaron Banks, a guard out of Notre Dame. So they're protecting, Jimmy G, Trey Lance, whoever's back there at quarterback. They're going to be run blocking. I mean, I may be in the minority here. I think Trey Sermon's going to have immediate impact on this offense as well.
Yeah, Trey Sermon is one of the underrated names in this draft to kind of watch out for. I mean, I watched him at Oklahoma and Ohio State, and he's a freak of nature. Just keep an eye on that name.
Absolutely. Now let's go to Atlanta, where they take the smart move. They go Kyle Pitts. Makes a lot of sense. Elite weapon, future star. He fits the new head coach Arthur Smith's 2 tight end offense really well with him and Hayden Hurst. So they're committing to Matt Ryan for a couple more years. See if they can get one more deep playoff run out of him. You had Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage. They added Cordell Patterson from Chicago. Kyle Pitts, Hayden Hurst. Bret, you got to like what Atlanta's doing offensively. And Kyle Pitts isn't just a tight end. He's like a wide receiver. He's just a playmaker weapon. Matt Ryan's going to put up some stats, I think, with this offense.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the best move for them to take Pitts at 4 if he was there. Yeah. And it does open up their offense tremendously now because, like you said, Pitts is such a versatile athlete. He's like a utility player when it comes to skill position offensively. Yeah. And one that, you have backs. You got McCaffrey or you got Hunt, those guys who are just, just freaks of nature when it comes to coming out of the backfield, and they can do so much. But, man, Kyle Pitts, we're going to hear that name a lot for a long time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what he does in the NFL. And he seems like a can't-miss prospect. Dustin, do you like Atlanta's decision to go Kyle Pitts, stick with Matt Ryan for a couple more years, and see if you can get a championship win out of him? Or if you were Atlanta, would you have looked at someone like Justin Fields?
I had Kyle Pitts going number 4 the whole time. I love the pick. Mm-hmm. If you watch him play, he's just absolutely great. I mean, he's catching balls over 2-3 defenders at a time. I mean, against elite competition, guys from Alabama and Tennessee and Auburn and just the whole SEC, and he just dominates.
Yeah, it should translate to the NFL level really well. Let's go to the Bengals, where they take Jamar Chase at 5. I was saying all along they should take Penei Sewell. but I can't hate this pick. It makes too much sense. One of the best arguments I heard for this pick is that, you can take an elite wide receiver, and for whatever reason, he might not have chemistry with the quarterback. Think Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr. a little bit. So I like this pick in that we already know that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have elite chemistry based on their 2019 season at LSU, where Jamar Chase recorded 84 catches for 1,700 yards and 20 touchdowns. So I can't wait to see this offense on the field. And I think Joe Burrow has a big year with Jamar Chase. You add Jamar Chase to Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. And so the Bengals are going to be pretty scary. Bret, do you love this pick? And would you have gone Penei Sewell, or do you completely understand this pick?
I mean, I think we cover. We kind of hit that too. I like the pick. I think as far as what they saw that would be the most beneficial, obviously Sewell is a generational type player, offensive lineman. Yeah. But at this moment, like you said, the advantage that you don't get very often as a professional team is to have chemistry with elite players.
Yeah, coming out of college just like that, yeah.
Right, and if that's something like we stated with Jacksonville, where now they can not necessarily ignore that, but it's something that they have to work on only 10% of the time, and the other 90% of the time they can focus on
how to get them open. Yeah,
anything else.
Yeah. Now, who's your Dustin? I'll ask you. Who do you think has the more productive rookie season? Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase? I mean, both these guys are going to be running for, rookie of the year potentially. I mean, it's probably going to go to a quarterback. But who do you think is going to have a better rookie year, Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts?
Oh, it's going to be Kyle Pitts. He's going to have a sensational rookie year.
Man, I don't know. I think Jamar Chase is going to have a hell of a year too.
I know, but man, have you seen Pitts play in games?
Kyle Pitts is ridiculous. I don't know how you defend Kyle Pitts. I really don't.
This man, Tony Gonzalez, ridiculous.
Yeah, honestly, that's what comes to mind when you see a weapon like that in a Falcons uniform. Bret, who do you think, Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, best rookie year?
Man, that's tough.
Yeah.
I think with the kind of player that Pitts is, having a more veteran quarterback, a little bit more stable organization that knows where they're at. You got Julio Jones over there to take some of the leverage off you a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's, but then again, man, I don't know. Right? Let's ask me this question in like a month.
Yeah. Now, the thing you mentioned, Julio Jones, he might not be there. There's been a lot of talk recently that Julio Jones might be traded or is on the trade block. And if he's not traded, I know this sounds crazy. Some people in the NFL believe that Julio Jones could be released by June 1st by the Falcons.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to let him walk?
Yeah, they might. That'd be pretty crazy.
That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dustin.
Did you see who one of the teams on the list is that he could go to? Miami. Can you imagine how ridiculous that would be?
In Miami? Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would sign up on that. As long as he doesn't go to Kansas City or Green Bay, I'm cool with it.
Or Tampa Bay.
Yeah, no, Tampa Bay. Well, all right, let's go to Miami. Speaking of the Dolphins, this is where I think the first mistake of the draft happened. I might be wrong here, but this is where I would have gone Penei Sewell. Tua has struggled. He needs protection for whatever reason. I know they're going to go chemistry and reunite Jalen Waddle and Tua, but I would have gone Panay Sewell here, but there is, Jalen Waddle's best statistical season was in 2018 with Tua as quarterback, so I can understand the pick. You add Waddle to Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Preston Williams, Lynn Bowden. So it gives Tua a much better shot at succeeding. Dustin, what did you think of the Jalen Waddle pick to Miami? You like it? Does it make sense to you?
It makes sense to me, but at the same time, it actually surprised me. The fact that Sewell even dropped down to the sixth pick, or dropped down.
Yeah.
I thought he would have been, 3, 4, or 5.
Yep. Yeah, I was surprised by that too. Do you believe Jalen Waddle is the second best wide receiver in this class, or would you have considered Devontae Smith here?
Oh, I would have took Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I think I would have too. What do you think, Brett? Do you like the pick, or do you think they could have gone Devontae Smith, Panay Sewell, or something like that?
I think they could have gone several ways with it. I'm happy that they let Sewell go.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they obviously see something in him that we don't. So
well, he's got talent for sure. It's not like I don't see the talent in him. Like he's gonna be good. It's just could have gotten slightly better. I don't know.
Right? No. Because I agree. Like a lot of we feel like there was other choices out there that we would have, as GMs or whatever, would have taken, and I agree with that. But yeah, I even said I was talking to Richard, and I told him, I said there was 3 big things to me in the first round, and one of them was that situation, who got traded or who got drafted first.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. I wonder if that's something that I don't know, man. I don't know how you do that. Heisman winner against his teammate.
Yeah. It's hard to hate the pick for sure. I had Jalen Waddle falling outside of the top 10, and pretty much all of my mocks, he would go like 11, 12, 13, 14 around there. So it might be slightly high, but it's hard to hate the pick based on chemistry, based on, you could do slightly better, but I think it's a good pick. They go Jalen Phillips, pick 18 as well. Despite concussion issues, they take a high upside pass rusher, so that should help. And then Dustin, they take Liam Eichenberg in the second round, pick 42. Solid value for Eichenberg to get him in the second round.
Yeah, I love that pick, and Eichenberg is going to be great protecting Tua. So,
yeah,
Miami, listen to me. Miami is building something down there.
Oh, they are. Their defense was like they had like the best defense in football last year, right there. And now you're getting better offensively. I mean, the wins are going to be there.
Mike Greenberg's talking about the Patriots are going to win that division. He has to understand Miami is coming.
Miami, Buffalo, New England. It's going to be a fun division to watch. Let's go to Detroit, Brett. Your team, Panay Sewell falls to 7. You guys, you don't outthink it. You take the best available prospect in Panay Sewell. As a Bears fan, I don't like it because it's a good pick. My thing on Panay Sewell is, you got to watch out for him bringing syrup out onto the field with all the pancakes that he delivers. You got to be happy with this pick.
Oh, absolutely, man. Stafford his mind is going crazy right now because now look at the Lions' offensive line. They got Ragnow, they got Sewell, and they got Decker all signed through 2024, 26, 24, 21 years old,
Yeah.
20, 25, 23, 20. Regardless, they're going to be there a while. And, having that, those 3, right, outside, inside, outside is your biggest points when it comes to being able to be a dominant offensive line. And holy crap. it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's the Chris Spielman, Dan Campbell mindset, right? Build through the trenches, build a nasty team. They go Panay Sewell, then they go Levi Onwuzaruke out of Washington, who's a nasty defensive tackle. He can pass rush, so he can give you both as a DT. Then they go defensive tackle Aleem McNeil out of NC State. So the Lions, their first 3 picks of this new regime all go in the trenches. So, the whole biting the kneecaps thing we kind of laughed at, but it's what they're doing is building a nasty, knock you over, don't help you up, through the trenches, tough team. And so while I'm not a big Jared Goff fan, what they're doing is building a solid team from the inside out, and that's how you should build a team in the NFL.
Yeah. Wish they would have done this 7 years ago. We'd been Super Bowl champs by now.
Quick question, Bret. Jared Goff is the quarterback. What's your confidence level in him? And would you have considered at pick 7, was there any thought in your mind to wanting Justin Fields, the quarterback?
Well, yes, because I believe that he too has a huge chip on his shoulder, knowing that he was going to possibly fall to the top 5, top 10, and then he did.
Yep.
He's not happy, and I knew that if he would fall to the Lions at 7, not because he's being drafted by the Lions, but because he fell to 7, that he wouldn't be happy either. Yeah. And it would be a huge, motivation for him. But again, over the last, it's been years as far as top 10 draft picks and quarterbacks with new regimes that go with that. It hasn't worked out extremely well. So building something, I think building something now and bringing in a quarterback within the next year or two was the best idea or best choice, because we know that Sewell is going to be planted there for a long time.
Yeah,
Fields still
like
is in. I'm not saying that Fields isn't going to be, but it's more questionable.
Yeah, and I like that mindset of you can survive with Jared Goff for a year or two, and what you're doing is building through the trenches now, so that if you do choose to get a quarterback in a year or two, he's going to come into a system where there's already an established dominant offensive line, and that's going to help any young prospect quarterback succeed.
Absolutely.
And then you guys also took Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC, brother of Equanimeous St. Brown with the Packers. So we'll see if you can get more production out of him than his older brother. But a nice value pick in round 4.
Yeah, we did well. We got an A at the very, very least. We got an A.
Yep, I gave you an A-, but that's because I'm a hater. So.
Yeah, I gave us an A- too, because I didn't want people saying that I was biased. But
Dustin, let's go to the Carolina Panthers. They take corner J.C. Horn. A little surprised that he was the first corner off the board, but maybe I shouldn't have been, because there was a lot of hype around J.C. Horn going into the draft. Some have compared him to Richard Sherman. He joins a secondary with Dante Jackson, A.J. Boye, Troy Pride Jr. So that secondary in Carolina should be pretty good. You like J.C. Horn going to the Panthers?
Yeah, and I believe this is a steal of the draft for the simple fact that, this guy has shut down elite receivers in Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and big-time stars that were stars in college. He kept them all under, what was it? I think the stat was like 50 yards.
Damn.
That's pretty.
Darrelle Revis numbers right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good steal there for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and I like it because they're getting the defense going, and the offense is going to be up and coming too. I know they've got Sam Darnold, but if you look at their weapons now, they had Terrace Marshall Jr. in the second round, pick 59. He caught 13 touchdown passes under Joe Brady at LSU, who is now the Panthers OC. So you combine Terrace Marshall with Joe Brady, then you add him to DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, David Moore from the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey. They get Chuba Hubbard in the fourth round out of Oklahoma State. If Sam Darnold can't succeed now in this environment, then he's probably just a backup quarterback in the league. Do you agree, Dustin?
Absolutely. I mean, he got out of the worst environment that you possibly be in football, going to somewhere better. Matt Rule, who is a good quarterbacks coach, so he had to know it's put up or shut up.
Yep, absolutely. Bret, looking at the Denver Broncos, this was big. I mean, the rumors of the day begin around reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers not wanting to return to Green Bay. We'll talk about that a little later. But the Broncos on the list of possibly getting Aaron Rodgers. They also traded for Teddy Bridgewater from the Panthers. So they got Bridgewater in there to compete with Drew Lock. In the draft, they go Patrick Surtain at pick 9 out of Bama. Man, this secondary in Denver is going to be nasty. I'm a big Vic Fangio fan, and looking at the secondary with Kyle Fuller from Chicago, Ronald Darby from Washington, to go with Bryce Callahan, and now you throw in Patrick Surtain as well. That's holy shit talent in that secondary. Do you agree, Bret?
Yeah, they're finally doing something over there as far as building around one piece or aspect wise.
Yeah.
Bach, they have trust in him, but it looks like I don't know. Is it going to be one of those situations again with Garoppolo in San Francisco where it's just just be here, just that's it, and have this defense be this stout defense that they're trying to build here, then their offense can just go with the flow, or I don't know. They're definitely going to be a little bit stronger defensively, I think. So
Yeah.
they're going to have to push
Yeah.
or manage for them.
I expect them. So a couple things on Denver. They were injury hit last year, so I expect them to be better on both sides of the ball. I expect their defense to be top 10, if not top 5. I expect big things out of this defense. They also drafted running back Javonte Williams in the second round to back up Melvin Gordon and replace the loss of Philip Lindsay. I like Javonte Williams a lot. He's a first-round talent running back, so he could be a future star. The concerns are definitely at quarterback with Drew Lock, and I think Teddy Bridgewater might end up playing more games this year based on the fact that he's better at protecting the football. He's not going to turn it over as much. And I think Vic Fangio will like that with a dominant defense. And the key thing to watch is what if the Broncos can make a trade and have that dominant defense and bring in a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. And they have weapons with Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, and those guys. So you give Aaron Rodgers a team like that would be crazy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. What do you think, Dustin? I mean, what do you think? The Broncos are going to be better, but you think there's any chance to those Aaron Rodgers rumors that he might be traded?
Yeah, I mean, they do need a quarterback, and we could have a Peyton Manning situation.
Yeah. It'll be crazy. I mean, what did you think, and how do you think Packer fans should respond to this? I mean, are you in the camp that Packers fans aren't surrounding Rodgers with enough talent, or are you in the camp that Aaron Rodgers is just crying and should finish out his career in Green Bay?
I would like to see him finish out his, career in Green Bay. But if Green Bay's not trying to make changes to help him win another Super Bowl, then I don't consider it crying.
Yeah, and I think he's got reason to have beef. And if you look at these, so GM Brian Gutekunst is who he's got issues with, and he wants Gutekunst fired. Well, Brian Gutekunst is the guy that fired his Aaron Rodgers' favorite quarterback coach in Alex Van Pelt. He released Jordy Nelson when Jordy Nelson was Rodgers' favorite target. He refused to draft a wide receiver when he could have had T. Higgins or DK Metcalf, or Rashad Bateman or guys like that. So I don't know. I think there's reason for him to be upset, and I think he's going to end up getting traded. We'll see where to. And if it's Denver, look out for that Broncos team. They're going to be
You think
contenders.
so?
I think he will be. There's a lot of smoke there, and Rodgers has been telling players that don't expect him to be back. That's a key thing right there.
Yeah.
So let's go to the Eagles. At pick 10, the Eagles take wide receiver Devontae Smith. They trade up with the Cowboys. They leapfrog the Giants, who they were worried the Giants were going to take Devontae Smith, or a wide receiver. So they leapfrog the Giants, and they take Devontae Smith, who's going to be their Deshaun Jackson replacement. And it reunites Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. Dustin, what do you think of the Devontae Smith, the Eagles trading up and then taking Devontae Smith at 10?
Yeah, I like this pick. The Eagles should hopefully finally have their wideout that's going to be a standout receiver and definitely help Jalen Hurts in the future.
Yeah, and then my favorite pick by the Eagles in this draft is not 10. It's pick 5th round pick, 150 overall, running back Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis. Great value pick and potential star running back. I really like this kid.
I think do you think that the Eagles are in like panic mode?
In what mode?
Panic mode?
I don't think so. You mean as far as quarterback?
That, and just the fact that this division is wide open, and they probably had the best opportunity the last 2 years and blew it. Besides, they won the Super Bowl, but
I think they're hoping to get more out of Jalen Hurts. That's why they brought in Nick Sirianni as the right. Was it Nick Sirianni, their head coach? So yeah, Nick Sirianni from Indy. I think they're going to give it a decent shot and see what they can do this year. And if they have to, they'll get a different quarterback down the road. But I don't think they're in panic mode, but they're in an interesting spot. And the rest of the division is getting better in a hurry. So it'll be interesting to see what we get out of the Eagles in 2021. I think they'll be competitive, but I don't see them winning the division or making the playoffs. No, I don't.
All right.
So now let's go to my Bears in a surprise, shocking move in the draft. I didn't think, I haven't trusted Ryan Pace for a while now. And I felt like if he was going to trade up for a quarterback, he was going to trade up too high. He was going to trade up to like pick number 4 with Atlanta and give up way too much to do it. I was shocked when we traded up to 11 and then took Justin Fields for a couple reasons. I think we couldn't have played it any better, to be honest. The fact that we waited for Justin Fields to fall out of the top 10, shocking. Like, a lot of people didn't expect Fields to fall out of the top 10, to go 8 or 9 at least, 7, 8, or 9. So to get him at 11 is solid, is good value. And not only is it a good value pick, you don't give up a ton to get him, and you get a quarterback that's going to have a chip on his shoulder, that's upset, that believes he's the best quarterback in this draft, not the 4th best quarterback. So
maybe they should have done that with somebody else.
Exactly. And so for as much as I've been upset and ridiculed Ryan Pace, I have to give him 2 thumbs up on this pick. I can't say anything negative about this pick. What do you think, Bret? What did you think when you saw this go down?
Well, I had no idea that the Bears, were gonna. Been talking about them getting some primetime names, possibly
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they made their decisions like, over the last few weeks prior to the draft, but that's probably why, because they felt like they might have had a chance hearing all the talk of Fields falling. They may have just been hopeful and took a chance, and it worked out for them.
Yeah.
Now, if they do, they need to go about this one a little bit differently. Now they already did
Oh,
it pretty well.
100%. Yeah. I mean,
Not giving up a ton to go from 3-2, but uh, yeah, we'll see.
well,
The development is in a much better spot right now than it was.
yeah. So the thing is, Bears fans are going all crazy, right? They're saying Justin Fields is a savior. This is the best quarterback we've had ever. Bears fans are going nuts. I Bears fans aren't ready to hear this, but I've got a cold splash of water being the truth. Is that the Chicago Bears are a franchise where quarterbacks go to die. It has been that way forever. So we still have a major job in front of us to develop and get the most out of Justin Fields and put him in a position to succeed. And so I'm going to be watching closely how soon he gets put out there to start. Ideally, we sit him as long as possible. And then how does Matt Nagy do? Developing the quarterback talent and getting the most out of them and getting them to be successful. Dustin, what do you think? In Justin Fields now being a Bear, but they've still got a lot of work ahead of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the pick, but I would have went Mac Jones here.
Okay, because he's the safer pick, right? He's got the less. He doesn't need to be developed nearly as much, right?
Yeah, and it's just watching Fields play. He didn't make the best decisions with the football when he was at Ohio State, but
Yeah.
I completely understand where Pace is coming from, just for the simple fact that this could potentially, you know, be him doing his wrong and not drafting Watson or Mahomes.
Yeah.
So
He's trying to make up for it.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that if you're going to trade up and take a quarterback, like the 49ers did, I think you bet on potential more so than the safe pick, than the low ceiling. And that's what Mac Jones has, is a low ceiling, high floor, in that, he's ready for week one. He's got, he doesn't need a lot of developing. He is who he is. But so that might have been the safer pick for the Bears. But I'll tell you what, Bears fans would not be happy with that pick. They would be upset. They would say you're playing it too safe and he's going to be another bust. So if you're going to trade up and take a quarterback there, I'm okay with Justin Fields. But the process, the job is not anywhere near done. Now we have to get the most out of them. And part of the thing that you're seeing and what you're saying, Dustin, about not making great decisions is I think Justin Fields trying to play hero ball too much, trying to make the incredible throws, and he needs to learn to take the checkdowns. So when they're there and protect the football, don't turn it over, and just move the ball down the field. But as a Bears fan, I love his upside, his athleticism, his ability to run if a play breaks down, and he's gonna put pressure on defenses. So that's going to be fun to keep an eye on going forward. I also really like the pick of Tevin Jenkins in the second round. We traded up to take tackle Tevin Jenkins, who I had a first round grade on. I thought he was a first round tackle. I wanted him at pick 20 if we stayed put. So I love the Tevin Jenkins pick. What do you think about that, Dustin? I mean, if you're going to take a quarterback, then take an offensive lineman right after that and do your best to protect him.
yeah, that was a great pick. I mean, you got to always protect your potentially next incoming franchise quarterback.
Yeah. So I mean, Bret. I mean, the NFC North is crazy right now, and the fact that maybe the Vikings aren't committed to Kirk Cousins the way everyone thought, with the rumors of them wanting Justin Fields. Now the Bears have a new quarterback. The Lions have a new quarterback in Jared Goff, and the Packers might have a new quarterback Aaron Rodgers might be out of the division, and it could be the Jordan Love Packers. So, Brett, you got to be excited to see how the NFC North looks in 2021.
Yeah, it's a huge mix-up.
Yeah.
It all started with Stafford leaving, and then the Bears have been questionable about their quarterback situation for a while, but
Yeah.
obviously that started to get figured out right afterwards, and Vikings kind of their ship seems to have sailed when their defense took a dump last year. And Green Bay, it's awesome, man. Let's throw a party.
That's the key. I mean, because Aaron Rodgers has tormented us for years. And so if he gets moved, that opens the door wide open for who. I mean, the Lions could win the division. The Bears could win it. The Vikings, it's a 4-team race officially. If Aaron Rodgers stays, we're pretty sure it's a 1-team race.
Yeah, I agree.
Bench Carson, bring Rodgers.
Brad?
I said bench Carson Wentz and bring Rodgers to Indy.
That'd be awesome. I mean, that would be the other story is where does Rodgers go? Where does Denver? He said he liked the 49ers. Maybe what if the Niners trade, what if the Niners make a move to send Jimmy Garoppolo to Green Bay and Jordan Love sits behind him, and then Aaron Rodgers is to San Francisco and Trey Lance sits behind Rodgers? I mean, it's a lot of different ways this could break. So,
how would that play out, though?
What do you mean?
Straight up trade Rodgers for Garoppolo? I don't think so.
No, there would be a lot of other stuff in there.
Yeah, I was going to say. We don't have time for all that.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the Cowboys here. Hold on one second. All right, so let's go to the Dallas Cowboys. So they trade back with the Eagles to pick 12. And their first 6 picks of the draft for the Cowboys, all 6 picks are defense. They go linebacker Micah Parsons, corner Kelvin Joseph, and a bunch of different names on defense. Nashawn Wright, Jabril Cox at LSU, great value pick there, 4th round linebacker. Bret, Cowboys, I mean, it makes sense as bad as the Cowboys defense was last year, but all 6 picks go defense. They got Dak Prescott coming back. They got a loaded offense, so maybe the Cowboys are going to be quite, very much improved in 2021. You like what they did in the draft?
Yeah, dude, I said it, man. I remember talking to my Jeremy. I was talking to you. I did the first mock draft. That's where I did it at his house, and I was like, if Parsons teams up with Smith in the middle for that, linebacking core for Dallas.
Yeah.
Holy yikes! It's gonna be scary, and yeah, it's gonna be. Their offense is already they're already there. Thankfully, they didn't get Pitts. But defensively, they need. Yeah, they're gonna be a step up, and they made sure, like you said, 6 picks in a row. They're not playing around.
Yeah, and it's nice to see Jerry Jones do that. Not like hijack. There was a lot of talk about Jerry Jones being in love with Kyle Pitts, but they were able to talk him out of it, keep him, defense first. And I expect the Cowboys to be the best team in that division. I mean, at least on paper, there's no reason the Cowboys can't win that division. What do you think, Dustin? Cowboys going all in on defense?
Yeah, I mean, they took care of the things that they needed to. They got Micah Parsons, and as you mentioned, a couple other defensive players.
Yeah.
Like Bret said, man, Micah Parsons and Jalen Smith are going to be nasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Micah Parsons, in my opinion, was the best overall defensive player in the draft.
I agree. And, putting him in Dallas, and that's where he wanted to go. I think he was like nearly crying when he got that pick. So I look forward to seeing how the Cowboys do next year. They look pretty well rounded on both sides of the ball. Go to the Chargers, pick 13. They go tackle Rashawn Slater, who, most of us were all over that pick from the very get-go. It made sense. Some people had Rashawn Slater going top 10. He falls to 13, and the Chargers couldn't pass it up. They get a great offensive lineman to protect Justin Herbert. They also take Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round. Great value pick again. And then they get, Josh Palmer, wide receiver, and tight end Trey McKitty, both in the third round. I like both of these guys a lot. Two weapons to go on the offensive side of the ball. Brett, that Chargers offense is going to be nasty next year. With Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, you have Josh Palmer, Trey McKitty, Rashawn Slater. Look out for the Chargers. They're up and coming.
Yeah, they're they I think we talked about them last year. They're doing what they need to do. We knew they're reaching the levels that they're expected to reach.
Yeah.
As far as rebuilding and growing, and the potential is there. Like we talked about with Herbert, he's showcasing what he needs to, that leads us to believe that he'll be able to be a franchise quarterback and succeed.
Absolutely. And so, like, critics like me, it would be easy for me to say Justin Herbert's going to have, like, he's not as great as everyone's crowning him to be. He's going to have a sophomore slump and come back down to earth a little bit next year. But when you add Rashawn Slater, Josh Palmer, Trey McKitty, you're setting yourself up to have as good, if not a better year next year for Justin Herbert. So the expectations are high.
Slater's a beast at Northwestern.
Yeah, and whether he plays tackle or he plays guard, either way, I expect him to be great. Dustin,
he can play anything.
Dustin, this Chargers team, I mean, you can't really hate any of this. I gave them an A+ for their draft. I think they killed it.
Yeah, and I mean, the dark horse is Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round.
Yeah, he could have been a first-round talent. That's a steal.
I think the Chargers may. I mean, obviously they're not ready to compete with the Chiefs yet, but
they're coming though. They're on their way, and they get Derwin James back, who was hurt all last year.
Yeah.
So look out for the Chargers. Let's go to pick 15, the Patriots, who stayed put. The Patriots were rumored by a lot of experts to trade up and go quarterback. They don't. They stay put. They wait for Mac Jones to fall to them. Who you could see it. Mac Jones was pretty upset watching all these quarterbacks go before him. He was sitting there. You could tell he was annoyed. But he goes pick 15 in New England. Dustin, I think you could argue that the Patriots is the best fit for Mac Jones of any of the options.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bill Belichick, obviously, but
yeah.
Mac Jones he works well in Belichick's system, kind of like a Tom Brady.
Yeah. Protect the ball, don't turn it over, do safe stuff. And the Patriots were always built on timing, right? And so Mac Jones can get that timing down right. Sit behind Cam Newton for as long as possible, and then when his time is right, get him out there. Do you like this pick for New England, Bret?
Yeah. In one of my drafts, I had him going back there. I think it was earlier, but that it's he was upset, like you said, seeing all these other guys go ahead of him, and not only that, but falling, like, the range between them was much greater too. But then you get a chance to go and play, for Bill Belichick in New England, and now things look a little bit brighter. So, I think, it's the best scenario for him and for the Patriots.
I would tell Mac Jones, it's not when you go, it's where you go. And like any of these young rookie quarterbacks, it's about situation around you, going to the right situation, being the right fit. And so that's a great pick for New England. They take Christian Barmore in the second round. Dustin, I mean, talk about a steal. Christian Barmore in the second round. That's a great pick for the Patriots, and it's a very New England pick.
Yeah, it seems like Bill Belichick loves picking nicknames, guys.
Yeah, and Barmore, I mean, he's a big monster DT who can stop the run, but he can also get after the quarterback.
Go for number 2.
Yep, and they add defensive end Ronnie Perkins at Oklahoma. And a sneaky prospect to keep your eye on, fourth round running back Ramondre Stevenson out of Oklahoma. High potential, great receiving option. We know New England likes those. So look out for him as well. Bret, let's go to the Cardinals. Pick 16, they go linebacker Zayvon Collins out of Tulsa. If you look at the Cardinals linebacking core, Jordan Hicks, Chandler Jones, Marcus Golden, Isaiah Simmons. Now you add Zayvon Collins. That's a pretty nasty linebacking core in Arizona.
Yeah, yeah, that's they have weapons offensively, and now they're able to build the defense there in a certain aspect that they want to be terrorizing, and their defense is gaining strength and knowledge in a very good spot all at once. So I think, I mean, it was a little early. I think we all had him going just late 20s, maybe.
Yeah, it could be slightly early. Yeah.
That was him going that early, and J.C. Horn being the first, or being in the top 10 in the first pick. Those were and then the Waddle Smith thing. Those were the three big surprises to me.
Yeah. And, I mean, not only are they getting better defensively, they add corner Marco Wilson in the fourth round, but they add wide receiver Rondale Moore out of Purdue. Explosive home run play potential. You add him to DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk. So Kyler Murray is getting better weapons too. Dustin, you got like the Rondale Moore pick for Arizona. They're continuing to get better all around.
Yeah, I love the Rondale Moore pick. He's one of the most underrated receivers in the draft. I mean, I seen him play at Purdue, and every time he touched the ball, it was 10, 15 yards a pop.
Yep. So Cliff Kingsbury, if he can stay out of his own way, Kyler Murray in that offense should be pretty nasty next year. Let's go pick 17 of the Vegas Raiders. They take, surprisingly, tackle Alex Leatherwood out of Bama. I think it's a bit of a reach. In my opinion, he was a second-round talent. I would have gone, Christian Darrisaw is available here. Bret, would you rather, I would have gone Christian Darrisaw here, or I would have even gone Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I'm a little bit surprised they went Alex Leatherwood here.
I mean, I'm not sure that at that point it really made much of a difference to them.
Man, Darrisaw's a beast, though.
He is. But prior to that, though, there was a couple ahead that were the key targets, and maybe it's as far as position-wise goes. Maybe they felt that. Well, I don't know how they ranked them. I guess that's just how it fell. How you look at it, scout-wise or as a unit, how they can fit into your scheme. I guess I don't know. It is, it's questionable either way.
I think some of that, I believe it was on ABC. They were saying or ESPN. They were saying if you swapped Trayvon Moehrig, who was a second round pick, and Alex Leatherwood, so Moehrig goes first round, Leatherwood second round. They're like, that would make more sense. And so it was a little confusing. I mean, Dustin, would you have gone Christian Darrisaw? Were you surprised by Alex Leatherwood going that high?
I would have chose, Christian Darrisaw over Alex Leatherwood, but let me tell you, John Gruden made a mistake in not drafting Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah, how shocked were you? I mean, he fell like crazy. I was very surprised by that, and it was over a perceived heart issue. It's weird how sometimes some kind of little report can make these guys fall like crazy.
Wait, there was a condition that came out prior to the draft? I didn't know that.
On Owusu-Koramoah, but he came out after the draft and was like, it's a non-issue. So it's interesting what makes players fall and different stuff. But I agree with Dustin. I was constantly mocking Owusu Koromoa this pick to the Raiders. So regardless of who they took, I was surprised to see him fall. I give the Raiders a B draft grade, and that's me being generous. They could have gone down to even C potentially. So I'm not a big fan of the Raiders draft.
Yeah,
But
or
They're just like their season average.
yeah, go ahead, Dustin.
I mean, it wasn't only Darius Shaw, but I mean, there was Tevin Jenkins available. They could
Yeah,
have had better options at tackle.
yeah. Like in my opinion, Leatherwood was like way further down. I would have gone Tevin Jenkins, Darius, Dylan Radund, even Eichenberg over Leatherwood.
Well, you guys are saying a lot of content that could really get you put on freezing cold takes.
Yeah, I know, but hopefully people aren't going to remember that.
Yeah, people will remember that. People remember everything, man.
I know
Anything you say.
Tito is going to get on here and roast me if Leatherwood turns out to be an all-pro. I know that.
Well,
Let's go to Washington, pick 19. They got linebacker Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. Solid pick, addresses a need. They've got elite D-line play, so now they're adding to the linebackers. He's a rangy, athletic linebacker. They go tackle Sam Cosmi in the second round, which is a solid value pick there. And my favorite pick in this draft for Washington is third-round pick wide receiver De'Ami Brown out of North Carolina. Great value pick, very high upside. One of those picks, you remember when DK Metcalf fell to the third round or A.J. Brown fell, and everyone's like, why the hell did these guys fall? De'Ami Brown might be one of those guys where it's like, how the hell did he fall to the third round? He could be a future star here for Washington. What do you think, Dustin, of what Washington did in the draft?
Yeah, I like what Washington did. I mean, I thought they could have went a better option on defense. And got like a Rousseau or somebody of that caliber. But I feel like they're building for the future. They got Ron Rivera. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Washington going forward because I'm sure they're going to end up taking a quarterback here in the next year or two. And so we'll see who it is. But I like what they're building. They just need to get a quarterback, and they're a couple years away, but they will be good in the future. Bret, have you seen much of De'Ami Brown? Look out for that dude in the NFL. He was a star at North Carolina.
not a ton. But
Chris Sims had him as like his number 2 wide receiver overall. Like he had Jamar Chase and then De'Ami Brown.
man, why can't I like think of anything as far as stand outish? Like I don't know. I didn't see a lot of ACC football.
Yeah, if you get a chance, not just you, even our listeners, if you get a chance, look at De'Ami Brown's tape. It's pretty impressive. So let's go pick 20 to a Giants bet. The Giants go Kadarius Toney, wide receiver. They traded back with the Bears from pick 11 to pick 20. They got jumped by the Eagles. I think if the Eagles didn't jump the Giants at pick 10, then I think the Giants would have stayed put and drafted Devontae Smith. Instead, they got jumped by Philly. They take Devontae Smith. So then they're willing to trade back to 20. They take wide receiver Kadarius Toney. I think it's a little high for Kadarius Toney, but the Giants are all in on playmakers for Daniel Jones, and it's pretty much a make it or break it year for Daniel Jones to prove that with Kenny Galladay and Kadarius Toney and Sterling Shepard and all these weapons that he's got to have a big year for the Giants.
Yeah. Now he has Rudolph too, right?
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph. He's got Saquon Barkley coming back off injury.
Oh man, jeez, Pete, if he doesn't succeed with that, sayonara. Yeah. It's I don't know that I had. Well, I like the pick because I didn't have him going as high as 20, but I had Tony. I think you got because I remember I mentioned it. I think you guys were like, "Oh, okay."
I like him, yeah.
I had him like I don't remember. I have my list somewhere.
I had him
Of
going 32, so it was like borderline first round.
I think I had 20. Maybe who picked 29th?
Green Bay or Saints? I think Green Bay.
Oh God, no! I didn't. Terrible if you went to Green Bay, unless Rodgers leaves, whatever.
I had him going to Green Bay in a couple mocks. I did. So
who's 30th?
Buffalo.
Maybe that was it. That would have been bad.
Yeah. But I mean, either way, Daniel Jones is going to have playmakers galore. Bret, what do you think? Is Kadarius Toney a little high here? I mean, either way, though, no excuses for Daniel Jones in 2021.
No, I had him going in the first round, so maybe, I had him going late, like we just talked about. You said you had him going 32. I had to have him going somewhere in the last 5 or 6, but I think he has a lot of upside. He's a very versatile. He's an athlete, so that's the thing, and not that all wide receivers aren't, but he just had a different playing, in that offense at Florida.
Dustin, what do you think, Dustin? Is that too high for
him? No. Again, this is another underrated pick, and everybody's sleeping on Kadarius Toney. I think this guy is going to be a star in the league and somebody that could definitely help Daniel Jones out.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say.
And then, so one of my favorite picks, a great value pick, second round, the Giants take linebacker Azeez Ojulari, who I had him going as high as pick 11 to the Giants. Now, maybe that was way too high, but I always felt like Azeez Ojulari to the Giants made a lot of sense. So him going 50 here is a steal for the Giants, in my opinion, a great value pick. And he's nasty. He reminds me of that nasty pass rusher that the Giants had back when they had the NASCAR package, or whether it was Strahan, Tuck, O.C. Umenyiora, Kiwanuka. It reminds me of those names. And a guy that's just going to get after the quarterback, and when he gets to the quarterback, he hits him hard and drives him to the ground. So I really like this pick for the Giants. Look out for Azeez Ojulari in the NFL. And the Giants are getting better. With that offense and those playmakers, they're going to be a threat in the NFC East next year. And it wouldn't surprise me if they shocked some people and won the division. But it's all going to be centered around Daniel Jones taking the next step. And can he avoid the turf monster in 2021 and not trip over his own feet? Sorry, Daniel Jones. I had to bring that one up, but you know what they say.
Hey, he'll get over it.
Yeah. Dustin, your Colts. Pick 21. They go defensive end Kwity Paye out of Michigan. You guys, you and Bret, in our consensus mock, you guys talked me into going Kwity Paye. So you guys were on this early. What do you think? What do you think, Dustin, of Kwity Paye? You like that pick?
I love this pick, man. It's definitely a good pick. I mean, he's a great pass rusher. He's athletic when it comes to running, sideline to sideline. And I think he's going to be a star, with the fact that we lost Justin Houston and Danico Autry and everything. We had to have somebody to replace those guys.
Yeah. Now, you guys go defensive and back-to-back, first and second round with Dayo Odeyingbo. I'm not really sure how to say his name. I'm just going to call him Dayo.
That was wrong.
Out of Vandy. So you guys are going defense. Did you guys replace Anthony Costanzo? How's the offensive line looking?
I mean, the offensive line is still going to be good. I mean, we have a stud in Quentin Nelson, but you do have to replace Costanzo, which is big. But I think we will address that in the free agency.
Okay, and he can put a tight end over there. I mean, you're right. The offensive line is great. Besides that, so I'm sure they'll be able to figure it out. But you got to be excited about the direction they're headed. And what do you think? What do you think of 6th round pick Sam Ehlinger out of Texas, quarterback?
Yeah, That pick caught me off guard. That was very surprising to me.
Yeah, with Jacob Eason still there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that. And
By
our
the
prayers out to the Ellinger family. R.I.P. to his brother, who was found dead recently
Tragic.
at only 20 years old. So shouts out to the University of Texas and the Ellinger family to stay strong and get through it. But that's some bad news there.
Hook 'em.
Yeah, you know, hopefully
It's
your Colts are looking good though, Dustin. So
yeah, Quiddy Pay, man. Hey, I've sent out. I know a lot of my friends are very, very excited for him to join. He's gonna terrorize offenses. I'm telling you guys, just wait.
you're
Like,
going to be a little bit of a closet Colts fan next year, aren't you? With Quiddy Pay over there.
I mean, I don't know. If Stafford would have went there, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't mind the Colts. Whole,
Yeah.
being from there, they're not like the Bears, that's for sure.
Well,
yeah,
no one can be. Not all teams can be legendary like the Bears. So.
Oh Jesus!
All right, so Dustin had to go, but me and Brett are going to finish this one up. Let's go Titans, pick 22. Titans go Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. Despite injury concerns, Farley still a tremendous upside. Addresses a quarterback need for the Titans. We also go tackle Dylan Radins in the second round. Good value pick there. Potential solid starting tackle. Pretty good draft for the Titans. You like them going like what they did, Caleb Farley and those guys?
Yeah, they got something going that they're building from bottom up to. We're not necessarily bottom up, but they're trying to build in certain aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily just one side of the ball or one specific thing. So the variety. I don't know what do the Titans. What's the best option for them?
So they went to the AFC Championship game 2 years ago, but they lost in the playoffs last year. I think that what they needed most is a better defense. Their defense took a big hit last year. They were still the force offensively, but the defense was pretty, suspect. Now they lose Corey Davis and Adam Humphries, two wide receivers in free agency. So they do get wide receiver Des Fitzpatrick in the fourth round. And they get two corners and a linebacker, Monty Rice out of Georgia. So defense, I think, is the biggest thing, the biggest concern for the Titans that they need to improve. I think they did that in free agency and the draft. So, they're going to be a threat. They're the 1 and 2 Titans and Colts to win that division. They still got Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry. So they're going to be a threat, and we'll see how much improved the defense is.
Yeah, it'll be. I know I'm interested to see what the Colts do in that division.
Yeah. And then so let's go to the Vikings. They pick 23. They take tackle Christian Darrisaw after trading back. Good value pick, one of the best tackles available in the draft. They could have stayed at 14, but once they... So the biggest thing for the Vikings is the fact that quarterback was on their radar, something that we never really saw coming. And then once the Bears traded up and took Justin Fields, they traded back with the Jets to pick 23, took Christian Darrisaw, and ended up taking quarterback Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M in the third round. So they went quarterback. I like going Christian Darrisaw. It's a great value pick, a solid left tackle, should be a starter for years to come. But, being in the division, being a Lions fan, what's your thoughts on the Vikings kind of not being all in on Kirk Cousins, trying to draft Justin Fields, and even a third-round pick on a quarterback? That's, your thoughts are kind of looking to develop him, and maybe he's the quarterback. Maybe he's the guy in a couple of years. Are the Vikings really out the door on Kirk Cousins already? What do you think?
Um, I don't know. They've had some issues, with relationships
Uh-huh.
uh, over the past few years, so that could play a role into it. I don't see, why they would necessarily give up so quickly. Maybe they feel that it's a negative. I don't know that it could become a really bad vibe.
Yeah.
That's just a negative all around. But at the same time, I think if you have that opportunity and you don't know, if you're not confident that he's going to be there, then in a couple years, then I think it's the right move to try and get Fields, until what happened.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would not be trying to move on from Cousins. I understand always wanting to get better, always looking to the future, but Justin Jefferson was Offensive Rookie of the Year last year with massive numbers. And the Vikings, I know they had a down year, but especially with the Bears and the Lions in transition, with the talk that Aaron Rodgers might be out in Green Bay. If Rodgers leaves Green Bay, the Vikings are suddenly the favorite in the division to win it, in my opinion, based on how they're built. You're talking Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Irv Smith. You're talking
So
Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison. I mean, they're talented. In my opinion, they should be spending a lot more on the defensive side of the ball to become more dominant that way than on quarterback. It just seems like a weird, I don't understand. If I'm the Vikings, I'm not trying to get Justin Fields. I can understand Kellen Mond more so, but it's still a little weird to me. Do you agree?
I mean, I don't know. I think that they have everything going for them. So yeah, it's a little bit hard to understand, but I can
Yeah.
see where they've had issues where they're questioning it. And if you have the ability to get somebody who you think, falling to you at 14 is a steal, there's a reason that the Bears traded up.
Yeah, and maybe the Vikings are looking back and thinking about the way the season ended, that late season loss to the Bears, that they should have won. Um, I don't know, but I would put more of that on the defense. To be honest, their defense was terrible at the end of the year last year, and
Yeah, it was pretty bad all around.
most of the drama, to be honest, was with Stephon Diggs. And once they shipped him to Buffalo, I felt like last year was pretty fine in Minnesota. So I don't understand. I don't understand the Justin Fields stuff. Kellen Mond, I'm fine with. Darisaw is going to improve the team. He's a hell of a tackle. That's going to help be able to run the ball and protect, Kirk Cousins and play action off the run. They also go guard Wyatt Davis in the third round. So I do believe the Vikings got better. And then they go defense, two players, Chaz Surratt, linebacker, in the third round, and defensive end Patrick Jones the second. I like both of these fits for defensive prospects. So I definitely think the Vikings got better.
Yeah, I mean, their defense couldn't get much worse.
Yeah, and it got better. And you add Chaz Surratt, athletic playmaking linebacker, in with Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr. They got better on the line. Now, they can still be all in on Kirk Cousins and have Kellen Mond in the back kind of slowly developing. He's a long-term development guy. So I don't mind that. And I'm really high on Patrick Jones the second. I think he can be a very valuable pass rusher for the Vikings in the near future. So I gave him an A+ on draft grade, and I just don't. I would never if let's say the Vikings had stayed put at 14. If they had taken Justin Fields there, I would definitely be giving them a negative grade. It wouldn't make sense to me. So I don't understand all that talk from out of Minnesota.
Well, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see. Let's go to the Steelers. pick 24. They kind of surprised people. A lot of people thought they were going to go offensive line or something. They go running back here, Najee Harris out of Bama, a beast running back. He has a chance to be an every down back, a workhorse running back, which is rare in the league nowadays. Best available running back in the draft, in my opinion. And what this tells me is the Steelers, they've been trying to replace Le'Veon Bell's production ever since 2018, ever since he held out and then left. So Najee Harris is a chance to replace that, get a workhorse running back in there, and with Big Ben getting older, take some of the responsibility off of Big Ben, not ask him to throw the ball 50 times a game, and play a more balanced offense. I really like the Najee Harris pick here.
Yeah, it's something to help balance it out, like you said. He's a beast. He can be used whenever, where they need him.
Yeah.
Whatever down. So it takes a lot of pressure off of Big Ben, and I think that's.
They kind of got exposed in that playoff game against Cleveland where they had zero running game at all, no running game. And so Big Ben had to throw it every time, and it just caught up to him after a while.
Yeah, he's asking for some help.
Yeah, and so it's a good move. I like in the second round they got tight end Pat Fryermuth out of Penn State, called Baby Gronk, big body pass catching weapon. So now they've got a two-headed tight end combination of Eric Ebron and Pat Fryermuth that should be pretty effective right away.
Well, we'll see. They can catch it.
Yeah.
I'm just playing around with Ebron.
Oh, Ebron, yeah. But this should help Ebron take some of the load off of him. Did you see Pat Fryermuth at Penn State? He was a pretty good weapon.
I'm sure I did at some point.
Yeah.
Just didn't. Not too familiar.
Yeah.
There was several other tight ends, I think. Was there a? Oh, that was last year with the 2 Iowa tight ends.
Yeah. Then they also grabbed linebacker Buddy Johnson in the 4th round out of Texas A&M. I really like him. I really think he fits the Steelers' defense with the athletic ball hawk playmaker. Can cover can pass rush, can drop in the coverage. Very versatile. So, Steelers are going to be a threat once again. I know Browns fans think that their time is now. They want to take the next step. I got the Steelers and Ravens still as the class of the division, and we'll see what happens in 2021.
It'll be a tight race. It could be multiple teams.
Yeah, I've heard people say the Browns are the most complete roster in football, so they're going to be a threat as well. We'll see how Odell Beckham Jr. Getting back into it for the Browns affects the offense. Speaking of Cleveland, at pick 26, they go corner, Greg Newsome II. So, you add him to Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, now Troy Hill from the Rams, and now Greg Newsome. That's a hell of a secondary for Cleveland.
Yeah, dude, they're loaded in the secondary.
Yeah.
They it's a no-fly zone there.
And then they add Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who fell into the 2nd round, pick 52 overall. Great value pick. I'm shocked he fell into the 2nd round. And if everything's good with him, that's a hell of an addition. The Browns just keep getting better.
Yeah, I wouldn't be complaining if I were a Cleveland fan.
Yeah. And then I also like 3rd-round wide receiver Anthony Schwartz out of Auburn. Elite speed threat, home run playmaker. Some were saying he was the fastest receiver in college football. So, man, the Browns, they're going to be a threat. And for me, I'm going to keep my eyes on Baker Mayfield. Everything is there for the Browns to go as far as the AFC Championship game, even get to the Super Bowl potentially if, something breaks their way. Like it did last year with Mahomes getting hurt in the playoff game. They couldn't quite close the deal on that. They were so close to going to the AFC Championship game last year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Browns respond to a lot more pressure, much higher expectations in 2021.
Yeah, the time is now, if ever.
Yeah, it is. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Staying in the division with the Baltimore Ravens, pick 27. The Ravens take wide receiver Rashad Bateman, an obvious need in Baltimore. Everything seems to be there, but lack of pass catchers, lack of elite playmakers for the Ravens for Lamar Jackson. So now we'll see if Lamar can take his passing game to the next level, adding Rashad Bateman to Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins. New addition, Sammy Watkins. So, do you like the Rashad Bateman addition in Baltimore?
Yeah, I had, I think, I don't know, I had Bateman going in the first round somewhere, but I don't remember where it was.
I had him going 29th to Green Bay.
I think I had him going to the Saints. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Saints makes sense. And that's right around the same spot 27, 28, 29.
Yeah. So
But I
yeah,
think, it's a need, obviously. And I think it's a good fit, a young, athletic wide receiver for Lamar Jackson.
yeah, and it's something that he's a explosive athlete, and that offense is explosive itself. So you add something like that to it, and it makes it that much more difficult.
Yeah, 100%. They also get Tylan Wallace in the fourth round, another wide receiver, big play potential. So they're getting better. Let's go to the Saints. I don't like what the Saints did. I don't know about you, but they go Peyton Turner, defensive end, too high in my opinion. I think he should have been a second or third round pick. And to be honest, he reminds me of Marcus Davenport pick a couple years ago, where it just felt like a reach for no reason. And Marcus Davenport hasn't really panned out the way the Saints fans had hoped. I'm not a big fan of Peyton Turner here. Too high in my opinion.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I don't think any of us had him on the board.
None of us and none of the experts that I saw had him up that high. They also go Pete Werner, linebacker out of Ohio State in round 2. That's an okay pick. Nothing great, but it's all right. And then in the fourth round, I think way too high, they took quarterback Ian Book out of Notre Dame. My
Yeah,
question is why? It seems like a weird pick in my opinion. You've already got Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. I guess the long-term development route, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to go Ian Book here.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. You're right. They numbers wise, they're pretty full there, quarterback. So maybe
Yeah,
they'll have to move Taysom. Well, you can have 4 on the roster, right?
yeah. I gave the Saints a solid C for their draft grade, so I wasn't very nice to them.
We'll see what
Um,
happens. Oh wait.
yeah,
Oh no. Well, yeah. They can. Oh man. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're too set on Winston or Hill for the future.
yeah. I mean, we'll see on that. If Sean Payton can turn around Jameis Winston's career, maybe the LASIK helped fix his vision. Who knows? I think Jameis Winston has a big year, a big bounce back year.
Ooh. All right. Well,
I've
good
always
thing.
been a Winston fan, going back to Florida State,
Yeah.
and
I like him.
yeah, I couldn't really understand. I didn't. Maybe he wasn't a great fit in Tampa Bay, and a lot of turnovers. If anyone can fix Jameis Winston, it's Sean Payton, like he did with Teddy Bridgewater, like he got the most out of Taysom Hill. So I look forward to watching the Saints in 2021 with
Uh,
Winston at quarterback. Well, let's go to the Packers, and again, I don't really like the Packers draft. They go corner Eric Stokes at pick 29 in the first round. I understand the idea of the pick going secondary based on Kevin King struggling late in the year last year and in the playoff game. But if I'm going to go corner, I'm going to go Asante Samuel Jr. here based on upside, based on just being a fan of his. I wasn't sold on Eric Stokes. He's a second-round pick, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree because I don't think it's hard there at the end. To pick those guys that are going to be 25 through 38 or whatever. But it's again what the Packers saw. Who knows what's going on in their heads right now?
Yeah, I mean, like, secondary is definitely a need. You got Jair Alexander. He's awesome, but you need another guy. And I'm just not sold that Eric Stokes is the guy. He might end up being a bust. So I would have gone Asante Samuel Jr. They go center in the second round, Josh Myers. The best pick the Packers made is finally they take a wide receiver. After all these years, they finally take a wide receiver in the draft. And in my opinion, it's a home run pick. You can get a lot of talent later rounds at the wide receiver position. And Amari Rogers out of Clemson in the third round, high upside, great pick, high potential. He could end up being the number 2 wide receiver that Green Bay's needed for a few years now. And it would be pretty funny if in the same offseason that Aaron Rodgers gets traded out, they finally bring in a wide receiver that he could have used a long time ago. And I'm a big fan of Amari Rodgers and his upside. What do you think, Bret?
Yeah, no, it's I mean, it is crazy that they have gone on that drought or whatever you want to call it, as far as not taking receivers for for Rodgers. But as far like you said, you can find a lot of talent later in the draft. At certain positions, and that's one of them specifically. So, they're going to need some kind of playmaker, especially if he leaves. They need to have somebody who can lift up, like you said, offensively. So,
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing has been like, regardless of who the quarterback is, you need playmakers, and
right,
especially with one of Aaron Rodgers' caliber, who's like we just saw last year, the league MVP. So why not surround him with playmakers and weapons and talent at wide receiver? I mocked them DK Metcalf and T Higgins, and
give it,
they weren't even taking a single wide receiver. It's not like they were guessing wrong at the wide receiver position. They just weren't even picking it. And that's
yeah,
what
no,
blows my mind, and I think blows Packer minds, and especially Aaron Rodgers' mind. It's like even the like third, fourth string receiver that Aaron Rodgers wanted in Jake Kumaro. That's the one guy he spoke out and said, "I want this guy to stay here." Even they release him and send it, and he goes to Buffalo. So I can completely understand why Aaron Rodgers is upset. And now that he wants out, now they're like, "Oh yeah, now we're gonna go get you a wide receiver."
right, yeah.
What do
Well,
you
it's a little too late.
Yeah, what do you think on that? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is actually going to force his way out and demand a trade?
Um, Not necessarily. But at the same time, they had trouble with Favre, so I don't see why this would be any different. It makes sense if something's happening, then they're obviously not their relationships. They're not handling them very well at the end.
Now, and Rodgers apparently wants the GM fired, Brian Gutekunst,
Right.
which understandably so. He hasn't surrounded Rodgers with much weapons. And if that's the case, if they do end up moving on from him, Green Bay needs to bring in a veteran quarterback. Because I'll tell you right now, Jordan Love's not ready. I think even Green Bay will tell you Jordan Love's not ready. So if you're going to move on from Rodgers, you're going to have to bring in someone like Jimmy Garoppolo, someone like Nick Foles that has been around the league for a while and you can still get something out of. or you make a trade to Denver and maybe bring in a guy like Drew Lock with some potential, and you can still sit Jordan Love. But that's what kind of shocked me about the Love pick to begin with, was that he was such a raw prospect and needed so much time to develop that all you're doing is pissing off Rodgers in the process, and Love's nowhere near ready to take over.
Right. Yeah. Like if he jumps ship right away, like what are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. So it's a very interesting position that Green Bay finds themselves in, and I look forward to finding out what happens this offseason with the quarterback situation. Now let's go to Buffalo, who takes Gregory Rousseau, defensive end, at pick 30 in the first round out of Miami. High upside pass rusher. They actually go defensive end at 30 and at 61 in the second round with defensive end Boogie Basham. So the Bills selling out, going two high upside pass rushers. That's actually pretty cool for Buffalo. I mean, if they hit on both these guys, that's some nasty pass rush talent just like that.
Yeah. You know, I had I think or so going to. I had him going like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Waiting for the Patriots at one point. Like he's a great rush. Very versatile as far as being able to, you know, get attack and penetrate there in the trenches. So that's somebody that was seen as, I think, I don't know if he's listed as a defensive end or a rush end or if they even have that, but I know I've seen that a lot with them, and it's something that scouts really liked and noticed is that he's quick off the ball, he's
Yeah.
powerful, and he's pretty much. I don't know. It's you're right. They got two steals.
Yeah. Russo fell further than a lot of people expected. And Basham, I think he went about expected, but I've always thought that he has higher upside than what he was projected at. So I'm a big Boogie Basham fan, maybe even more so than Gregory Rousseau. So solid moves there. They also go Marquez Stevenson in the fifth round, a wide receiver with elite speed, home run threat, solid value pick there as well. Um, it's going to Tampa Bay. The Bucks take linebacker Joe Tryon with the 32nd pick in the first round. Edge pass rusher, athletic. They take quarterback Kyle Trask in the second round, which another, I don't know about this pick. I mean, it is good for him that he can sit behind Tom Brady for a year or two, but by no means am I sold on Kyle Trask. I don't expect him to be a successful NFL quarterback. Um, so I guess I understand it because he can sit and develop behind Brady, and they can be patient with him. But I'm not a Kyle Trask fan. What about you?
Um, I mean, I wasn't gonna pick him as my franchise quarterback,
Yeah,
but
to me, second round
but
seems a little
he
high
it
for him. Like third round, fourth round more so.
right. No, yeah, I see. You know, I see what you're saying, and if he's not there, I don't know who was the quarterback after that that got drafted.
I
Who was the
mean,
next
you could wait
quarterback?
till the third round when the Texans take quarterback Davis Mills. So you could go Davis Mills, you could go Jamie Newman. I think the reason they went with Kyle Trask is because he played at Florida, and it's hometown kid pretty much there in Tampa Bay.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think it's a little high, and they could have waited, maybe got him in the third round.
No, I agree. Um, they probably could have waited
And
for him or for
the
something
thing
else.
is that the Bucks are so complete on both sides of the ball and about to run it back and try to repeat as champions that they're not in desperate need of any certain position, so they can kind of take a guy like Kyle Trask and it doesn't hurt them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and hope for the that it wins. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're right. They don't have. They're not as They don't have as much. Uh, what would you say? they have a high upside majority, to be
Yeah,
okay regardless of what they do.
yeah.
So it's not very risky.
The Seahawks they don't have a first round pick, so in the second they take Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver out of Western Michigan, and they take corner Trey Brown in the fourth out of Oklahoma. Two solid picks there. Eskridge seen as a high potential prospect that a lot of people have their eyes on, so good get for Seattle there. Um, Going to the Rams, I really like this pick for the Rams. I believe it was last year they took Van Jefferson in the later rounds, and he's a very high prospect, and you saw his potential in his rookie year. Again,
Right.
they got a wide receiver, Tutu Atwell out of Louisville, another high upside future star potential. I look for Tutu Atwell and Van Jefferson to be both solid weapons in the future for the Rams. I like both of the. I like these picks that the Rams are doing at wide receiver.
Yeah, that's they need to get some more weapons out there for their new quarterback. So
Yeah,
um,
Stafford's going to have weapons all over the field out there next year. So
yeah, it's and their defense is pretty stout.
yeah,
So they decided to go and get a playmaker, and they did.
yeah. The Chiefs got Nick Bolton, linebacker, in the second round. After trading away their first round pick to get Orlando Brown Jr., left tackle from the Ravens. So then they're out of the first round. They get linebacker Nick Bolton. They go center Creed Humphrey out of Oklahoma in the second round. So the Chiefs have done a pretty good job of building their offensive line back up after the shit show we saw in the Super Bowl. Um, they go get Orlando Brown Jr. They get Joe Thuney from the Patriots, or Joe Tooney from the Patriots. They get Kyle Long out of retirement, the former Bear. And now they get, and then they trade for Orlando Brown Jr. So pretty good job by the Chiefs of rebuilding that offensive line in a hurry in one offseason.
Yeah. Um, they needed to address the situation and fix it quickly because they have a super caliber team, and you don't want that one piece screwing up.
Yeah, and that one piece to be the O line, you can't have Mahomes taking those hits like he had in the Super Bowl.
All right.
That was nasty. I enjoyed seeing it, but that was nasty. Now, finally, our last team here we're going to talk about the Houston Texans, who waited until the third round to take Davis Mills, quarterback out of Stanford, which this could be a little bit of a sign here. It's a good value pick, but maybe this is showing that they're anticipating losing Deshaun Watson to trade this offseason.
Yeah. I it's that's just a dumpster fire.
Yeah, the whole Texans organization is a dumpster fire, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with Deshaun Watson and if they can make a deal, maybe to Miami or something like that, and see what they can get in return. I mean, if the Texans were to trade Watson and get Tua back, then you got two young prospects in like Tua and Davis Mills to work with. So, you know, if I was Houston, I would cut ties with Deshaun, especially after all this off the field stuff, and get what you can and get as much value as you can and start the rebuild, as soon as possible. Stop dragging your feet and move on from Deshaun Watson. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they got to do something, man.
Yeah. And they
It's
seem to be a pretty poor run organization at this point right now.
oh man, it started with that trade.
Yeah. Well, with the D Hop trade, yeah. And then, yeah, firing Bill O'Brien and all the nonsense that went on. Then J.J. Watt wanting out and all that stuff. So they also taken a third round wide receiver Nico Collins out of Michigan. You know him well. Big
Mm-hmm.
play threat anytime he touches the ball. What are the Texans getting with Nico Collins?
Oh well, I mean, he's a long ball. He's gonna go up and make the big plays. You put him in that position like we did. He had some excellent receptions for big chunks that were huge parts of the game, or of those specific games for us. He's a playmaker. One play can, and he's the type of guy that can make one play to change the game. So
Yeah,
he's a great pick.
that's what's up. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. That'll, wrap up our draft recap. But I mean, a lot of good stuff. Some really incredible talent is entering the NFL this offseason, this year. So I can't wait for 2021 for training camps, for preseason to see see all these great athletes get on the field, see how well they adjust to the new teams. I mean, my Bears, your Lions, the NFC North, the entire league is going to look, a lot different in 2021, and I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah, no, I agree. Our division, the conference, the whole league. It's a big shakeup for many different reasons and uh, situations that happen. It's crazy. It's drama everywhere, but
Yeah, it'll be
it's gonna
fun.
be fun for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully that Green Bay stuff keeps going.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Bret. Good having you on the podcast as always. Dustin had to go mid episode, but no worries there. It was good getting his insight. And
Yeah, thanks for having me.
appreciate all the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And stay tuned because this month of May is going to be legit. It's going to be fire. We got some great analysts coming up next week, next Wednesday, and the following week after that. We're going to have a Lions insider on the show, actual NFL analyst for the Lions. One of the most well-connected NFL insiders for the Broncos coming on the show. We got a 49ers insider coming on in 2 weeks. So stay tuned. A lot of big things in the works. A lot, some more player interviews coming up. So thanks for all the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and have a great week. Thanks again, Bret.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
No problem, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.